So what's up, everyone? I just wanted to do a quick little video where I kind of ramble about my thoughts on this franchise. You know, the MaXXXine trilogy, Mia Goth, Ty West. It's going to be a little bit off the cuff, unedited, hopefully. Kind of want to ramble on a little bit, give my thoughts on this franchise. See if you guys agree or disagree. Comment down below. Let me know on any of these thoughts. But, you know, I was going to kind of go back through the franchises really quick, like, and go through X, Pearl, MaXXXine. Give my quick thoughts and a synopsis on, like, what the central theme of them is, why they were made that way in relation to, like, this franchise in general, where we go. I'm going to start off with X. Like, obviously, X is a slasher. It's talking about Pearl in old age. It's a combination of the two. It's like, it's commentary on the attempt to make a nice, dirty film, as he says. Like, nobody can make an artsy, dirty film. That's what I kind of feel like Ty West thinks about horror movies, where, you know, they have a reputation of being like shit. Nobody takes them seriously. The Academy Awards don't take them seriously. And he wanted to make an artsy A24 horror movie. I hate the term elevated horror, but I really feel like X is the perfect example of elevated horror. Where, you know, at its surface, it's this very raunchy adult film slasher, this creepy, weird imagery about aging, but it's so much more than that. I mean, the picture's beautiful, the way it's filmed, the score, so much going on here. Where you have the slasher elements, the adult film commentary, you have the profound conversation they have in that movie about adult film, you know, aging, professionalism. Apparently, I can't say that word. I keep stumbling. Yeah, you have that, and you have the ethics of the adult film industry. Then you have so much. Again, you have really cool kills, artsy choices with the car kill, the lighting. You have foreshadowing of nearly all of the characters' deaths in that movie, which are pretty fascinating if you go back and watch it and you pick up on them. But he basically tells you the whole movie early on if you're paying attention enough. The dialogue choices are so witty. Then you just have so much weird, creepy commentary about aging, and you know, Pearl's character, where you feel really bad for her character, it seems, but she's also just a psychopath. But I honestly always said that's the real, like, horror to X is aging. Like, the concept that youth is fleeting. No matter what you want to do, you can't stop it. You know, the feeling that if you're like MaXXXine, you want to be famous, you have a limited time, or you're kind of just stuck. Nobody really wants older talent. They kind of want young people when they're in their, like, most popular part of their life. That's when you can get famous. That's when you can become successful. So the fleeting youth element of the fact that it's beautifully sad when you get older, that you can't even have, you know, sex with a loved one like Howard and Pearl can't because their bodies don't even work. That's the terrifying thing. I said in my review for X, you know, there's no movie that's been able to capture that feeling for me. There's a lot of movies where they show a lot of creepy old people. They're kind of standing there talking, or they just stare at you. This is the only horror movie I've ever seen, as much as I love it, that has made me unsettled and uncomfortable with the fact that I'm aging. You know, because the way they capture that, like the beauty of the scenery with the contrast of the shots from MaXXXine's lifestyle to hers, that's what I think it's going for. And I think the reason he went for this, again, as I'm going to keep going on, I think Ty West really kind of feels that in his career, where he kind of has made a bunch of different stuff. And I don't want to say he's not taken seriously. He's just not an elite director in the eyes of a lot of people. He makes terrible, trashy movies like he's depicting in this because they're horror movies. People don't take them seriously. They don't think there's any art or any skill to them. They just think it's like cheap, I guess, compared to like Oppenheimer and things like that. I think he kind of sees himself in Pearl a little bit, where he's aging. Like, when can he make a gem? When can he get famous? Like, when can he, you know, step up in the industry? So that's kind of what I really get out of this movie when it comes to him. Where I think, and Mia Goth the same way. You can kind of compare the contrast to those two as well, where, you know, she's the same way. She's probably thinking, at what point do I get a break? Because she's a known actress now. She was a good actress. She was known a little bit. She's not even close to the level she's at now. So you contrast the fact that she both played MaXXXine and Pearl. Ty West directed this. They both see themselves in the character. I think the passion shows through in that regard. I think they basically felt these characters to the core. So that's what I get out of that. You have going on to Pearl. That one's a little bit more just an artsy caricature where, again, I think there's a little bit you can be taught. Like, if you've seen the interviews with Ty West, he basically just came out and said that he wanted to make like a sinister Disney movie. And that's how I depict it. Like, that's what I said when I described it. It's just this very weird, nightmarish, like, kid's tale with the artsy music and the way she's acting. I think that film was kind of like the coming out party for both of those two, where, you know, it got to showcase Mia Goth's talent. Everybody knows her for Pearl. Like, they don't even think of her for X, even though she's good in X. It's like Pearl was the Oscar performance where she got snubbed. Same thing with him. I think he got snubbed. I think the movie deserved to get an Oscar nomination. The way it was directed, filmed, it looks beautiful. The score, everything. And I think that was just the movie in this franchise. They both came together and said, like, this is the one we showcase our talents in. Where it's talking about her just acting abilities, like her character's evolution, his directing and artistic ability, his eye for the camera. That's the one they came together. I think that's why that one was made. Then you get to MaXXXine recently. If you haven't seen my review, you can check it out up here at some point. But MaXXXine is a little bit of both, where I think they basically did everything they wanted to do with the first two, where you have this horror movie franchise going on, where they do the adult film, they do the character study, and then they just wanted to have fun. They wanted to kind of do a hybrid of both, because obviously it doesn't require as much acting chops by Mia Goth, but she's already showcased it. We know she's good in the role. She's great in this, but Pearl's the gold standard. But in this one, they wanted to just have fun, because they wrote the trilogy to this. And it's kind of interesting because it is a giallo, as I mentioned. It's very artsy. It's a very, cinematic take on a very simple, outplayed concept, where you have this like murder mystery. You have this character's evolution. Like it's just, we've seen it so many times, not recently because they don't make giallos anymore, but I think that was what they wanted to come to do this very artistic murder mystery. So now they've tackled aging commentary in the first one with a slasher, the adult film thing. You have a character piece of mental illness, psychopathic acting and directing tendencies, hybrid of both for fun, where they're making a giallo, again, very artistic. They stay on the commentary where they're talking about that you can't make a pretty picture. Like there's references to Satanism in MaXXXine, where they're talking about, horror movies of the devil, people selling their soul. There's just so much stuff going on that's kind of contrasted, where they're just having so much fun poking holes in Hollywood, how serious it takes itself, what you need to do to get famous, aka selling your soul. You have so many references to the other two movies in MaXXXine, where they're having fun doing references and commentary to Pearl, Pearl and X, where they're doing dialogue choices. They're doing scenes visually, how they contrast to MaXXXine. They're, flashbacks. It's all practical. You have a bunch of references where she's seeing Pearl in the Bates Motel. There's just so much stuff where they're having fun with all the characters. They're just finally putting the puzzle together. And what I really got out of this one too is I think this is a movie where there's like an element of selling your soul to like what this franchise has become, because they probably both realize this is their quickest way to fame. Like this is the quickest way to success. And it's like, the whole concept of selling your soul. They both know, like Ty West is now known for X and Pearl in this, and so is Mia Goth. Like whatever they want to say about their careers, they're not thought of in the light of anything else at this point. So they probably almost feel like to an extent they've sold their soul just, doing this, because it's like, if they didn't stay down this route, if they ever want to change, they're kind of fucked. I'd imagine there's a little bit of, because if you're ever one of these people who become successful, you have to stay in your niche. Otherwise you're just going to drive people away. So I kind of related to that. Demons of the past, chasing her, demons of their acting career and their directing not working out, kind of chasing them. And then you have some other stuff going on. Like there's a lot of commentary in this one where they're kind of talking about, it almost feels like they're talking to you, like as an audience member, like not through the characters, like the director in Mia Goth, or like they wrote the characters to subtly talk to you directly, because they can't just have an interview and say it without sounding weird, desperate. Maybe people will take it the wrong way. They're doing it through art, again, to be artistic, prove they can act, right, direct. They're very artsy in that regard. There's so much commentary in this I couldn't help but pick up on, where they're talking, they don't know if this is the end. Where does she go from here? Ty West, I think in an interview, as I said, he's come out and said he's not sure that he's done with this. It's going to depend on the reception of this franchise. It's going to depend on like if it does well at the box office, do fans like it? He's not actually closing the door anymore. And I think that's for a couple of reasons. Obviously, you have the monetary financial thing going on, where these are hit movies. People love them. Mia Goth's getting roles. It's almost like infinite money glitch. Like it just keeps coming in. People love these. Like they're just fans. People like me will go see them every time. I'll see 15 more. So I don't think they've closed the door. And I got that through the commentary of the ending of MaXXXine. I think that they're definitely kind of leaning towards making more. Maybe together, if not in this franchise. I think they both realized that like they made each other. Like Ty West made her and she made him. They're kind of buddy-buddy at this point. They're forever connected. So it's something that's kind of interesting to contrast a little bit. When I was just thinking about it, I wanted to rant about it a little bit. I definitely think these two can be legendary, personally. I think Ty West and Mia Goth can be basically legends of horror if they just stay together and they continue on this artsy trajectory. They don't have to do MaXXXine to death. I understand some people will be, it's going to get older after a while. They don't want to stay in this universe forever. I'm unique. There's no bad movies in it yet. I'll stay in it as long as he wants. I love it. But I would be interested in seeing if it kind of goes the route, you know, of like Kurt Russell when he was working with John Carpenter or something, or Mia Goth just stays with him and they just decide to do different projects. They write and direct movies together, they produce, where they maybe do more anthologies. Instead of doing MaXXXine, they write a different type of a film. They do like science fiction, maybe they do possession. They just do some different world where they're together and they take this artsy flair they've done through A24, this, again, I hate the term elevated horror, and they just put it into these new different things. And she's always his lead and they just keep working off it. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. I could be way off again. Let me know down below, but I kind of feel like this was way more personal than it needed to be. The whole way this trilogy played out. Again, lightning in a bottle. Nobody expected this to be any good. And it became so good. They're both so revered now. People acknowledge their talents. They're successful, monetary, and just being known in the industry, like by fans. People both know them, household names. I just feel like this entire franchise was very personal to them. You see it in the acting with how good she is in Pearl, the way the dialogue is about the contrast to their careers. I just think this entire project became very personal to them, where they see themselves in the characters. They're acting out and directing it out. That's why they're taking it so seriously. It's a passion project. This is just something I hope continues. So again, this is just a rant. Let me know down below. Do you agree with this? Do you disagree with any of this? Let me know. I'm just venting my thoughts after this. Maybe it's post MaXXXine sadness that maybe I'm coping that we might not get anything else in this franchise. But I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. That's all I'm doing in this video. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with the central messages of X, Pearl, MaXXXine, any of that? Do you see this franchise continuing? Do you think these contrasts actually exist? Am I just making things up? Yeah, would you like to see them go a different route where they do projects together, anthologies, whatever? I'm interested in it all. Also, let me know down below if you like these types of videos, these like free-flowing rants. Maybe I'll do some more about horror movies, genres, films, whatever. Just let me know down below if you like them. Give me some ideas or something. Who knows? Maybe I'll make more of them in the future. Let me know down below. That's all I got in this one. As always, if you haven't subscribed, I do horror movies, rankings, all that type of stuff. Join me down below. Peace.